All right, guys, welcome to the first client spotlight. I have never done this before, and now I'm doing it. I feel like I should have been did client spotlights because so many clients have been getting these results and that results, rather huge or big or small. But today, I'm able to do my first one. And honestly, the person I'm going to bring to the floor has been so fun to work with, not because like we've had some success and it's not because of that. It's honestly, well, it is because of that, but it's honestly because of the personality too. Because the personality really it really just keeps you going. It's nothing like having a client that can have a personality that can keep you all right, I'm gonna push through today just because we be having some good laughs, okay? But I want to bring to the virtual floor the marketing coach for hairstylists of the century, a great friend, a great partner. I want to bring to the floor Kindra Barnes. If y'all give her a round of applause real quick. Woo!
Woo!
No,
Thank you, Jaylin, Dr. Jaylin. Thank you so much. It is such a pleasure to be here. Those of you who do not know me, I am Kendra Barnes, the KB Glam, and I am ending hair breakage in women all around the world. I'm also your hairstylist marketing coach, coaching you to achieve multiple streams of income using social media and your presence. So I'm so happy to be here. It's been a pleasure to work with Jaylin. Jaylin X away.
okay. So now I think I just want to get straight into it because the whole point of this is a client spotlight. So you guys, I want to kind of talk about a little. I want to maybe take it back a little bit because honestly, Kendra, I do not even remember how I found you. Do you remember how I found you, or what was our first initial reaction? Okay, go ahead, because I don't
I
remember.
remember. So you followed me a long time ago. You had about 17 followers. So I was like, who is this guy talking about funnels with 17 followers? But hey, you follow me. And so after a while, I started seeing you engage with my content. And so I was like, I'm gonna follow him back because I am aware of what a funnel is. Or at the time, I thought I knew. I'm like, okay, I know what a funnel is. And I'm like, I need that in my life, probably.
Yeah.
I've been trying to build one on my own for since the beginning, like 4 years ago, actually, but I just never could stick through and get all of what I needed and just keep going down, never could.
Mm.
So I was like, let me follow him. So anyway, I started seeing your content and you basically put out this partnership or this opportunity where you were wanting to work with some hairstylists, and you told us to comment something. And so I commented. And from there, we had an interview where you basically were trying to understand if you were wanting to work with me or not.
Yeah.
And so then from there, you was like, the Holy Spirit is telling me. And so then from there, we just kept going with the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah. So I definitely don't remember that post. I'm be completely honest, I don't. Um, Thanks for trying to clown me with 17 followers too.
No, but you've grown though. I knew it was a new account. Like I knew this was something you were transitioning into. I saw that you were once a photographer.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I knew this was something new, but just because it was a new venture, that doesn't mean that you didn't have the experience or that you
Mm.
didn't know what you were talking about or that your content didn't still convert because it did.
Mhm.
Because after I read the long caption, I was like, okay, yeah, the long, I'm talking about 18 paragraphs
Oh man.
caption. I was like, let me comment, yes, count me in or raise my hand because, I see what he's talking about and it is true. So I didn't care about the followers. It was your consistency. You were engaging. I knew it was a real account. And I saw that you had a heart to help people. That was what the whole post was about. And I'm familiar with what that looks like when you're trying to help some, like when you're trying to help the masses, but you're trying to sift through who you should help. So that's what the content was basically about. So yeah.
So thinking about that though, what made you, because we still strangers at this point,
Yeah, you're in Detroit.
and I'm in the D, but what made you say, all right, I'm willing to hop on an interview or a discovery call with a stranger? Like what was the problem that you were looking to get solved that made you say, I'm gonna at least hop on to see if this can happen?
Well, that's the nature of entrepreneurship. You take chances. So this is just another chance that I would take for my business, and it could be life changing or it could be a learning experience.
Right.
So that is why I was like, yeah. Again, I know about funnels, like I know the power of them. I know what they can do. I know that they can be life changing. So from there, it was like, okay, well, I'm sure this could be a good opportunity for the both. I knew my power. I knew I had, I knew I had a little follower too. And I knew you had the knowledge because I'm seeing your consistency and what you're saying, the information, the education. And then too, I saw the stuff you were sharing in your story, who your mentor, I assumed who your mentor was. So it was just a matter of me taking a chance to see if this is something that I would be interested in partaking in.
Okay. So you knew like entrepreneurship is about risk. So let me just go ahead and take the risk and et cetera. So then we kick off the project. So we actually had uh I don't know if I want to use the F word. I'm gonna use it. We actually kind of had actually before I go there, before you started working with me, like what was going on or what do you feel like maybe was the problem or what you were struggling with? I think you kind of hit about it in the beginning, but what was that for you?
For me, so I have already done a lot of the groundwork in terms of building my credibility on social media, on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So I have at this point an established clientele. I have viral content that's still being engaged with online. So there you kind of get a little comfortable and you don't want to post as much because, I believe in you don't have to show up every day, all day when you are posting good content. I'm talking about content that converts, whether if it's educational, informational, entertaining, however you want to put it, especially if it's still being engaged with and you posted it months ago. So that's a norm for me. So I did get a little complacent. Not I'm just gonna say comfortable. I'm not gonna say complacent because I know the power and the value of posting and still showing up, in my story. But yeah, I got comfortable, and so it was me still working, trying to. That was my only source of income. So social media was, and then of course they go back and forth with the social media pay, and then there's my clientele, which that's exchanging time for money. So what you were sharing about which was, about the funnel and stuff. I'm like, okay, well, I know I need a funnel. I know I'm an educator at heart. I know I have a lot I could share. So I'm wondering, how my life could change for the better if I incorporated a funnel. So I knew that's why I said I knew I had to take a chance because exchanging time for money was you're eventually gonna cap, and you can only increase your prices so much so fast before your people are like, "Girl, what is you doing? I'm gonna find somebody else. I don't care how good you are. I'm gonna find somebody else." So yeah, I was just exchanging time for money and getting comfortable, not posting as much. So that's what my life was before you.
How important do you feel like for people that are like you that are established, you got kids as well, you have a family. Um, how important do you feel like it is for people like you to have those things in place, like those systems that are kind of like running 24/7 so you don't have to do, and I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but I just want to kind of hint on that because you are a mom, you also are a wife, and you also are a person who has her own regular life.
Hmm.
I think really what I should be asking is, what made you say like I want to get into online courses instead of continuing to do and rely on my service that I'm doing?
Well, I wanted more time to be able to be at home. So you hear it? You hear nothing. There's no kids. It is peaceful. My husband is at work. And yeah, I could really see a lot of more days like this in my future where I show up maybe 2 to 3 hours online, whether if it's, 1 hour webinar and, maybe a meeting or two after that to debrief or prep or whatever. And yeah, like literally spend the rest of my day planning content, shooting content, creating content, the fun stuff, having a photo shoot, all the good things. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still, I want to do service, but I'm really interested in having a set clientele and really being a mentor, being an educator online. So I knew online courses was gonna be my thing because I do have a leadership background. So I love to inspire and to help other people. And I do have several different, ways I could help people. So, I mean, it could be teaching them makeup, it could be teaching them hair, it could be teaching them marketing, it could be teaching them social media, it could be teaching them, just anything. So I knew that and also I tried to do this on my own before. And like, it's one thing to, okay, I'm a hairstylist. I learned how to do hair. I've mastered that. Now you have social media. Okay, you mastered that. But then when it comes to the technical stuff, you have to first figure out what systems, how to use the system. And then you have to come up with the verbiage. And then you need the pictures. And then you need to make sure all of the settings are right. And that's why I never got it done. So I tried this before, and you pay for the class to even learn how to do all this stuff and set it all up. So I was like, yeah, I mean, I knew that I I can't do everything by myself. So I was like, okay, yeah. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to focus on building my social media, servicing my clients, and God bless you to follow me with those 17 followers. Now you got a lot more followers, and which I'm proud. Hey, high five. And it's on the way. Like, and it ain't even about the followers at all. It's not. But I just wanted to put emphasis on how taking a chance on an account that doesn't look like that account, you know what I'm saying? Where people typically, oh yeah, I'm gonna follow this person and I'm gonna pay this person because they have, 17K followers or 45K followers. Like, it's not about the followers. Sometimes you have to take a chance and listen to the Holy Spirit if you are a believer. So yeah.
I don't even want to. That's good though. I'm glad you just said that. I'm for sure using that as a clip for sure. I'm not gonna lie to you, and it's gonna be like she cooked my 17 followers, but said this. It's gonna be crazy for sure, for sure.
First of
Now,
all, make sure you use some jargon that people know. Cook, we don't know what cook mean.
okay, I'm from Detroit. She, I figured out. Okay.
Okay.
Now I don't want to make this all like a peaches and cream type spotlight, and I'm gonna get to the spotlight part in a second. But what are the real emotions? Because a lot of clients, I know it has to be some emotions that you're thinking about when you're getting ready to work with somebody new that you don't know and you invest in your time and your money. Like for you, what are those, if you can kind of tap back or think about any, what are those before working with or like we kicking off the work process
Key
emotions?
indicators
Yeah, like what was
that
that
help
in
me
your
make
mind?
my decision.
Yeah.
It was the questions that you were asking. So I have been a part of these webinars, a part of these mentorship calls. Like, I've done this before with other coaches, men and women, and you had a lot of the same jargon that they had. So, and even the questions, just to try to even, try to understand my why, what's going on, where are you now in your business, You kept it professional, yet you still wanted to you asked the right questions to help you to understand if I was a right fit for what you wanted. So you knew what you needed. You came to the call, you knew what you needed, you knew what you wanted, and you executed, the questions to the point where it would make me make a decision and also help you make a decision. So yeah, that's how I knew.
I think I'm looking for. So you telling me that this was just like, okay, he asked me some questions and like I'm good. It wasn't no doubt. It wasn't no nothing that came up. It was just like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really simple. When you know where you're headed, and then too, first of all, I'm older, Hi, I'm older. Some beauty pros, some of them are young. So a lot of it is you have to persuade them. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you're gonna get to a point in your business where you've exhausted these things and you're gonna be put in a position where, you need time and you don't have the time and you need the money too. So I've already been in those positions. I've already sacrificed. I've already been a hairstylist two other times and quit. I've also had a job. I've also so I know I know what I need. And you know what I'm saying? Like something now I'm not gonna say I know everything or I know all that I need, but I knew at that time that I had experienced what it felt like to and then to really like run out of time because when you go viral, you get a lot of attention. So you're gonna get booked. You're gonna get booked to capacity to the point where you don't have no room to take people unless you're gonna stay in the salon from sun up to sundown and with three kids and a husband. That's not really feasible. That's not doable. Like you have to be fair with yourself and with, like your situation. So I knew, yeah, it wasn't any questions. Hey, you were asking the right questions. I could tell that you were being coached by somebody because everybody needs a coach, so that's very important. I know you had a coach, and so that would mean that you would constantly be learning and growing and elevating, which would help me as well if you and I were to start working with each other. So yeah, there were things that I know in my head. Okay, well, if he's saying this, that means this. So yeah, it was easy for me.
Yeah. Okay. That brings a lot of context. So it wasn't you knew what you wanted and you heard what kind of helped you make what you heard me say things that could help you make the decision. So it kind of was just like, okay, let's make this thing happen.
Right.
Okay, got you. So we make this thing happen. And I honestly feel like I think we launched three different funnels together. I feel like it remind me if I'm wrong. The first one was a webinar that was about something. The second one was the Better Marketer Bootcamp. The third one was your payday you just had yesterday. And I don't I want this to be so transparent to where if a potential client is watching this, like of course I want to highlight the good stuff. I want to make myself look good. I want to make you look good, but I also do want to talk about the things that really happened. And the first webinar we did, I think tanked, as in it didn't get no sales.
Oh yeah, probably.
And I remember having a conversation with you like, what are we gonna do? Because honestly, in my heart, I was going through a season where I was learning how to serve my clients, and I didn't have the maturity all the way to be like, No, you have to push through with them even when something does not work how you want it. But I was
Mm,
gaining that maturity. So at that time, if you're a potential client, you listen to this, I'm just being 100. Like my maturity is a different level of where it's at now. I'm just being 100. I wanted to give up because I thought I had this person. And I'm like, we about to knock it hard. And we did this. I don't know what emotions you went through at that time where did you have any? Like, all right, we didn't make no money. We did all this prep, all this, but we didn't make no bread. Did you have
mm.
emotions at the time?
No, I didn't because, it's a risk and that's what happens. You don't always make the money you want to make, but it's the experience that you need to continue to keep going
Yeah,
that yields that result of either more money and the experience. So, I wasn't worried about the money. I was challenged at the point. Like I was posting, you had me posting, you had me going live. So I was grateful for that, honestly, because my audience, I was able to grow a deeper connection with my audience.
yeah,
I got new followers. I, put myself on a beta test where I'm trying to figure out how do I reach other beauty pros with my
yeah,
marketing because all of my marketing has always been for clients. So I
yes,
knew what to say to reach somebody who was looking for a hairstylist. But for a beauty pro, I'm a beauty pro, but I'm a different type of beauty pro. I talk different. I think different. I come from corporate. So I'm on another level. I have to figure out, what to say, what triggers, that I should use to prompt another hairstylist to click on my content. So through
mm,
that time, I was able to get comfortable with that and, get comments, read the comments, understand, what other people were looking for and the questions that they had. And then, they were interacting with me in my live. So they
yeah,
were, just building connections. So I wasn't tripping about the money. I know the money gonna come. That's
yeah,
just period. I've learned that the money is going to come.
yes. And I'm so glad you said that because, like I said, I was just diving into my Bible about how to serve your clients. And the only thing I could think about that was really like you're serving them was they made money. And I was now I know focus on your part and let God do his part. But at that
Mm,
time, I didn't think about that. So
mm, mm.
it was a battle, and we never had this conversation, but it was a battle to keep going because it was like, no, she need to make $1 at least because that's what I thought was a true conversion. Of course, we want to make money, but you just opened my eyes, like, bro, I connected with my audience. I grew my followers. I got better at figuring out what hairstylists want. And of course, we didn't have this conversation, so I wasn't thinking about that. But in my heart, the only thing that meant that I did good was if your ClickFunnels dollar amount and sales changed from that webinar. And
Yeah, so we had different goals.
yes, yes. And I didn't know, like, I just didn't know. But in that studying of serving, I started to kick off like you still need to do your part. You're supposed to help them out, figure out what could you have done better. And then that's when I remember being downstairs in the laundry room, and I think me and you was talking maybe, and we start kind of talking about this better marketer boot camp. Like, and it was just like I don't know who came up with the idea. I think we just was kicking it.
Better marketer. That was your idea.
Yeah, we came up with the idea and we built the funnel and we launched it. And I remember being on the phone again in the laundry room. And I didn't think nobody signed up. I'm gonna be 100 with you. But I went upstairs and I checked. Or maybe we was talking about, I was like, oh, somebody signed up. And then it was like, somebody signed up again. And then it was like, somebody signed up again. And it kind of made me think, like, oh, Jaylin needs to do his part. God needs to do his part. Kindra needs to do her part. God is going to do his part. And I don't think I ever really asked you, like, what was, if you could tap back into, like, what was those emotions when, of course, you said you saw that it started working, like on your end, but what was those emotions when it started working financially? And it's like somebody bought? What was that for you?
For me, it was that, okay, you got to keep going. You got to keep going because there's more of where this came from.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a need for it. So that's when I just continue to build the confidence. So the money just gives more confidence that
Ah,
you are the, yeah, that you are the expert, that there is value in what you bring to the table, and that you need to continue to show up and talk about it. And we can't always rely on the numbers or the success rate to dictate our value,
mhm.
because eventually, when you keep doing it, success is going to happen anyway.
Bingo.
So so it was just like, okay, it just kind of built up my confidence as a coach, as a marketer. Because
Yeah.
not only am I marketing for for clients, I'm marketing for hairstylists or beauty pros.
Hmm.
So the money just brought in the confidence, because now I can brag a little different. I'm not just converting clients. I'm also converting hairstylists. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay. I like that. That's a clip too. I'm just gonna keep calling out clips, just to let you know. Just gonna keep calling out clips. Okay. That's good to hear. And it kind of puts it in a new perspective now to, like, my mindset is totally different. I live by the mantra of, like, bro, do your part and
mhm,
God gonna do his now. But at that time I was like, Lord, this ain't it. She didn't make no money, so this didn't work, until I
mhm,
read a Bible verse that talked about, it says, in all toil there is profit, but mere talk only leads to poverty. And the application of that verse is that no matter what work you do, it's going to profit. Now, like the Myron Golden says, I love the way he put it. The work either works on you or works for you. And most of the time, it's working on you before it works for you. So all
mhm,
the times I was building the funnels and pushing through and changing my mindset and all that positivity stuff and effort I was doing was working on me and my character to get to this point where I am now, for it to
mhm,
work for us.
mhm.
And I didn't even know that. So, like, this is just like this, working with clients will reveal to you so much about yourself.
Yeah. Working with people, period, because
Yeah.
you're gonna build your character and your leadership. I mean, it's like a ever changing, rewarding experience.
Yeah.
So you get to watch yourself grow before your eyes, especially when you document the process.
Bingo. That was a low key like shade. Was that shade, low key? Because we talked about documenting the process yesterday.
We talked about it when you started this Zoom too.
We did. I'm gonna leave that one on the side. Okay. So now we here. We do this webinar, and I can remember this because it's a little closer. I remember telling, like, would you do a webinar? Like, how about we just do a webinar? And I think he was like, so I'm gonna have to be doing webinars every week. Like, you said it some way where it's like this about to be your new reality of doing webinars every week, because we did the Better Marketer Bootcamp, and I know we didn't go into that, but we came to the conclusion where you was like, I'm not trying to get my time for 4 weeks again. I need something that's gonna be automatic, because it was a time. for that
Yeah,
project.
that was a 4-week boot camp, serving once a week. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all, but I knew I couldn't be off for 4 weeks on a Monday.
Bingo. So now we got a new idea and we start talking about it. And your first webinar was yesterday. And I want to let you share the results and kind of if you can start from the moment we hopped on and we thought that the time was at one time and it was really at another time. Can you just walk through your emotions? I know you got emotions because you told me all of them yesterday. Can you walk through your emotions from the beginning of the webinar prep to the end of the webinar and getting the results that you got from your first time in 2 hours?
So we plan to prep for the webinar. And the webinar was scheduled for 2 p.m. This is what we shared. So in my mind, it's 10:30. We're hopping on a call. I'm like, okay, cool. We're about to go over these slides. Mind you, it was 97 of them compared to my 12 slide deck for
Yeah.
presentation, which is, hey, first of all, she even showed up with a presentation. Come on now. Everybody not doing presentations. Some people just hop on the Zoom and just tell you what it is, and you gotta take your own notes and walk away. So I knew my 12 slides was okay.
Mm-hmm.
But Dr. Jaylin here says that no, 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 one idea per slide. So it was 97 slides. So we were plugging in the information, making sure everything was a go, making sure the no everything, I'm like, okay, this is impressive, this is great, this is nice. And so like, okay, well, I do have a couple of things that I need to do before the webinar. So, Jason's like, oh, what do you have to do? So I'm like, because it's 11:30 at this point. We've prepped, we've went through the slides. And so I'm like, oh, I have to go get my kids. They have a dentist appointment later on today. So he was like, oh, you must go have to do that quick. And I'm like, well, it's 11:30. The webinar is at 2. And he's like, I think the webinar starts at 12. And I'm like, huh? We said 2. So then from there, we still actually had to go through all of the slides. Like I wanted to go through all the slides because I wanted to see, make sure everything was good, make sure I was comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I'm like, oh my God, my hair is not done, my makeup is not done. I'm sitting with my robe on at the table. And the webinar starts in 24 minutes.
Yes.
And we still have to go through like 60 some slides. So we're going through the slides. I'm adding in notes. Okay, yeah, okay, clicking, I'm adding in. I'm trying to figure out Zoom because now I'm presenting on a portion of the screen. I've never done that before. So I'm just trying to make sure that everything is like okay. I'm trying to think, and a lot of these things people typically would not think of if they are not used to presenting. So first of all, I'm just really grateful to God that I have a presentation spirit because I've done several presentations in the past just like for free. Like hop on a free Zoom. If you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, I had like 4 or 5 free Zooms on my website right now where I've gotten feedback from them and everything. Like, oh my God, thank you so much. This was so informative. But I've always had that spirit to like hop on and share and tell my story and do a presentation, even if it was 5 slides. Like, look, this is take a screenshot. This is the thought. Take this, run with it, save it, all of that. So I'm just grateful for that. And so I kind of had an idea of, what questions to ask and how to be proactive. And Lord child, we get to 11:50 and I'm like, okay, we on slide 80. And Jalen's like, okay, yeah, let's hop on slide 88. And I'm like, 88. I'm like, okay, well, it's 11:54 and the webinar, yeah, I still sitting in my robe,
Yeah.
no makeup on, no hair. My hair's wrapped up. I have a stocking cap on my head. But at this point, I'm also a little grateful because the dentist appointment was at 3 o'clock. So we would have made it there on time at all. We would have been
Mhm.
late. I would have to pay a fee. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just get through this. So then it's 11:58 in the morning. The webinar starts in 2 minutes, and I'm finding areas where I should add in notes to help me remember, because I'm about to be on my own for the next 2 hours doing a presentation, and I've just looking at the slides. But the thing is, I know the information, and my information is tested, tried, and true. So that's the only thing that really I wasn't nervous. It was just like, oh snap. So at this point, I'm running in the room. I'm throwing on a little bit of make. No, I did not throw on any makeup. I only had time to put on a dress, put on a coat, a little blazer, some glasses,
Mhm.
unwrap my hair, and I came back to the webinar. And there were
Mhm.
already people on the webinar, and it was I like the presentation style. I felt like, you know, everything you said that would happen, they're gonna start putting in the chat, they're gonna do this. They did it. I was like, okay, this stuff really works. So that was the first thing. I'm like, this 97 slide idea may not be so bad.
It's
So
not.
yeah,
It's
these
not.
people are putting fire in the chat, they're putting their ones in the chat, their threes in the chat. And I'm like, okay. So then at this point, it's more of like you were building a connection. I was calling people out on the screen, just trying to interact with them, making sure they had their questions asked. And then I get to the end, and then I saw there's a timer on the presentation, and there was a play button. So I'm like, I don't think I'm supposed to click there. Maybe it's just there just to be there. But I just so happened to click while I'm in the presentation. I'm like, because we're at the part where it's time for them to make the investment, make a decision. So I clicked it, and then the timer really went off, and I'm like, oh my God, I know this don't mean we got another 30 minutes. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna hold you all. This timer says 30 minutes, but I'm not gonna hold you. And so, but let me go back, because when I say that there was sweat dripping down my legs because I
Flip it.
was
That's a
nervous. It was sweat. I'm like, what is this dripping? Because I worked out at 5 in the morning. So I'm like, I took a bath. So I'm like, I know it can't be like, what's going on? When I tell you I was nervous, the emotions before a 97 slide presentation deck webinar that I just got and I have to present, there was sweat. I had to look down and make sure it was sweat. I didn't know what it was at first, but it was sweat. Checked out to be clear, it was sweat. Sorry, TMI, but I'm just letting you know that you have to have you got to have it. You got to have it in you where sometimes you just have to get it done. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be planned out all the time. Everything is not going to be worked out. Sometimes you're going to have to just show up and pivot. And so that's literally what yesterday was. It was a pivot, and I'm used to it because things happen. I already know that. So I'm just grateful for my mindset, cuz it was a little I was like, "Oh my God, like this is my first time." I mean, people are signing up. And then not to mention the last post, which was on Sunday night, is now viral, which was for a hairstylist. Um, and so at that point before the webinar, when I woke up the next morning, it was like at 30K views. And I'm like, oh my God. So that's where we got the most of the signups, which was the post right before the webinar.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my God, first of all, my hairstylist content is viral. And now it's at like 69K views. And then I was just like, oh my God. And then now I have all these people coming to the webinar. I'm nervous. I don't know about this presentation style. It's 97 slides. I'm sweating. I ain't got no makeup on. I don't know what's on slide 16, on slide 68, or slide 89. I don't know, but I'm going to get there when I get there. And when I get there, I'm
Yeah.
just going to, I'm going to wing it.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh my God, I cannot wait till this is over. But it converted. It worked. We got sales. I have my new mentorship team. Or not my team, but my new mentorship group that we're gonna have orientation on next Monday. And the best part is, like, I didn't have to have everything all together, even though, of course, I would love to have everything all together. But it's just the fact that, stop always waiting. I'm the type of person, everything, I like to have everything figured out, and so, especially when it comes to my business. And that's really why a lot of times I have dragged my feet on executing and getting certain things done with my business, because in my mind, it's not done the way I want it to be done. So I'm just not going to do it at all. But in this experience, it has taught me that focus on what's in front of you, and as time passes, you'll get time to work out the kinks, just in time to execute. So I love that we were able to make money, and I didn't have to be overwhelmed with not only preparing for a webinar, but also preparing for what I needed to do after the webinar. Like, I was able to, compartmentalize my responsibilities and focus on just posting.
Yeah.
Then the day of, I was able to focus on, I didn't have to focus on the presentation because that was also done for me. So it was like, okay, this is actually really nice. This is very generous, like how you remove the barriers for your clients to make sure that there is a seamless experience. I think that's really, really good. Um, so yeah, but it worked out. Everything worked out well. We converted. Um, the people that signed up are super excited.
They are.
And I'm excited too.
They are. And I told you that this could be like you can literally write your own payday every week. I know we mentioned what we got to do first, but you can literally hop on a Monday in the beginning of the day. Oh, I want to make
Mhm.
$300 real quick. I want to make 1,000. I want to make $100 real quick. And who knows, like I always tell my people, like, I don't know about y'all, but an extra 300 a month, extra 1,000, that's pretty good. Me.
Yeah, I take it because it's gas. I mean, it's groceries. Phew. Yeah, when you have kids, you can never not have an extra $20. Okay, $40.
Facts. So yes, that is the roller coaster of our partnership that we've been working on. And I've honestly enjoyed it. It has built my character, and just reflecting on this conversation in my mind as you talk and you say how you felt. And I think about all this, it's like, this is why you keep going for clients. Like, this is why you push through. This is why you do your part, because like your webinar proved to me that if the offer is good, it don't matter how many people on the webinar. The offer is good, people are going to pay. And sometimes I could kind of stray away from small number webinars, like, but we had a small, what people would consider a smaller number, and people still paid.
Mm-hmm.
And it, like you said, that it make you feel good. Like, dang, like the presentation was, the offer we wrote was good. Presentation
Mm-hmm.
was good. So just
Mm-hmm.
working with you has been a great learning experience for my character. And now I believe God is revealing to me why you are somebody I'm working with
Mm-hmm.
to help me build my character. And it has been a great experience. So I think to end this, this is my first one. I don't even know, like I said, I don't have no flow or nothing. But to end this, I think about the hairstylist who is watching this video and they may be on the fence about if they should take the leap of faith to work with me. And I kind of want you to be real of like this experience, but maybe tell them I'm gonna keep this part in here. You about to shoot me a commercial, okay? And this commercial is gonna go on social media. And somebody is scrolling down their timeline. They're trying to debate if they about to work with me. And the video that they see is of you. And whatever you say to the hairstylist that's watching this video, that is going to determine if they work with me or not. So I'm not going to try to set this part of the interview up where it's like, give me a low key testimonial. I'm just going to keep it 100. This is the commercial. And whatever you say is the determining factor of if they work with me or not. So you could tap into the emotions of the before, the during, and the after where you are right now, and give them something to hear that'll make them be like, "Girl, I need to hear that. Thank you so much. I'm moving forward. That will help me out." So let's see what you got.
All right.
We
I'm gonna try, I'm
we
gonna
can do a couple takes too. I'm gonna keep this part in there.
no, you probably want to start with this because this people gonna be like, why is she in the camera like that? You know, one
Okay.
of them weird videos, and then they yeah. So I'm gonna do it again.
Okay.
That was on. Oh, so okay. I'm trying not to cry, but this has been an experience where you typically hire somebody or you go into a partnership with somebody thinking you're just gonna learn a new skill where it's like, okay, we're going to get this done, but then in turn, you challenge yourself in ways that you never thought you would, such as showing up online, going live, and not to mention the the exchange, you know, somebody to pray over you, someone who talks to God before they make decisions, someone who um knows who the Holy Spirit is. It's one thing to know God and to read your Bible every day, but to know when the Holy Spirit is actually tapping you, um, and not making emotional decisions. Because a lot of times working with men, especially younger men, and I don't know how old he is, by the way, but I know he's young. Um, Sometimes they wear their emotions on their sleeve. Everything is about, hey, let me show you how strong I am. Let me show you how much of a man I am, how much I know more than you. And, you know, he has been so humble. He has been a person of, no, show me what has worked. Show me, teach me too. Like, I'm a student as well. You're my coach. I'm your coach. You know, so it has been more so of accountability that you need for your business because oftentimes as an entrepreneur you you get stuck, you get comfortable, you feel like you good, and but then deep down you know you need to I wish I had somebody to push me. I wish I had somebody who knew more than me. I wish I had somebody who also cared just as much about investing in themselves as I do. You know, the fact that he has a coach, the fact that he's always, you know, going to his coach's webinars and he's continually being a student and bringing that information back and then letting me know like, hey, I've never done this before, but I trust my coach. You know, that type of that really shows vulnerability. And a true leader is very vulnerable, and I know that because I'm a leader and I'm vulnerable, and I always love to share my vulnerabilities because it always helps somebody else in more ways than one. So if you are a hairstylist and you are looking for someone to hold you accountable, to empower you to, you know, be better than the person that you were last season of your life, someone who is going to make you stand out, like encourage you to stand out. Because sometimes, as a beauty pro, we get so comfortable in our creativity that we're afraid to look like we are unique. Like, we're good with showing our skill set that we're unique, but when it comes to our personality, our character, our voice, we tend to hide behind the photos and the videos. So I will say that, you know, this experience also has taught me to, you know, give people grace, you know, understand where people come from, and be open, you know what I'm saying? Be open to the thought of growth, because sometimes the growth, we want the growth for the money, but the real growth is when you're a better person because of an experience with somebody. So, um, yeah, that's my testimonial.
Well, I thank you.
You're welcome.
And
Hmm.
Do you want to shoot a version two? Can we shoot a version two?
Yes, was
I'm gonna put that one on. That's my YouTube.